Number 4 in our post-spring SEC power rankings, the LSU Tigers. The number 1 transfer portal class in the country for Brian Kelly. A couple names jump off the page, and we'll get to those in a second, but really just a lot of really solid ball players for BK and the Tigers. You can make an argument on the offensive side of the ball. You can make an argument that Garrett Nussmeier is the best QB in the conference. But man, he's a gunslinger. We talked about it many times last year. Like, he'll make some great throws, he'll make some great plays, and then he'll throw a couple of just really boneheaded interceptions trying to fit balls where he can't fit them.
He's never seen a window that he doesn't think he can't fit the ball through. Like,
but
that's what gunslingers do.
That was, his decision to forego the NFL draft was huge for LSU. He's going to have Nick Anderson over from OU to throw the ball to. He's going to have Barry and Brown, wide receiver from UK. Kentucky joining Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton Jr. Those guys are back. So a good wide receiver room there in Baton Rouge.
They're six deep. They're 6 deep at the receiver position, man.
Yeah.
With really talented receivers. Even a guy like Destin Hill, who transferred in from Florida State, was a very highly ranked recruit, a guy, home run type hitter at the receiver position, could put his face mask on the goalpost at any moment. They are a lot of depth at the receiver position overall. Surprise, surprise, it's LSU. They're one of those teams that you can mistake for wide receiver youth.
Yeah, and last summer we came out with a bunch of our top list of position groups, and we had LSU number 1 offensive line in the country, and they didn't always play like it last year. A lot of continuity issues, but they have to replace 4 offensive linemen this year, including top 5 tackle Will Campbell, who went to the Patriots. So that'll be a big question mark for them. Can they do that on the offensive side of the ball? Defensive side, they went to the portal. They got Jack Pyburn from Florida. They got Patrick Payton from Florida State. And then hopefully they get a healthy Whit Weeks back, who halfway through that season last year just seemed to be racking up 15 to 20 tackles a game. And just, I think, second year in Blake Baker's system. I know you're a big Blake Baker guy. Second year in his system for LSU, I think, is going to be a big jump for the Tigers on defense this year.
Yeah, Blake Baker's system is built to, I know all defenses want to get tackles for a loss and things like that, of course, but that is Baker's defenses have always been an attacking style defense to be able to get after the quarterback, get a lot of sacks, and get a lot of tackles for a loss. I just don't know that the overall talent level on that side of the ball last year, because we all know it's been well documented that Brian Kelly's biggest mistake so far at LSU has been on that side of the ball. The coaching staff originally, the talent acquisition originally on that side of the ball just wasn't keeping up with the talent on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't think that's the case anymore. Harold Perkins Jr. is going to be back from injury. We all know how talented he is. His production fell off pretty dramatically after his true freshman year. I think with his ability to be an off the ball linebacker this year, with Whit Weeks, both of them are coming back from injury, but I expect both of them to be healthy this fall. Having those two guys together, the leadership, the talent, the production that they can bring of the off the ball linebacker, I think is going to be pretty ridiculous. And dude, you hit the nail on the head with one guy. There's a chance if LSU is going to be one of those teams that's competing for an SEC championship and competing in the college football playoffs, which they obviously have the chance to do with the talent that they've got this year. The addition of Patrick Payton as an edge rusher. You're talking about a guy that 2 years ago when Florida State had that undefeated regular season team that got left out of the playoff. They had dudes on both sides of the ball that got drafted in the NFL that was super talented football team. Obviously, they went undefeated that year in the regular season. Patrick Payton was as good as anybody they had on that defensive side of the ball that year and started every single game as an edge rusher for them. His production fell off a little bit last year, but whose production didn't fall off a little bit last year at Florida State?
Yeah.
Him having a new lease on life, a new location, being with a legit contender like LSU, dude, I think that he could be a problem coming off the edge for LSU this year and really, really flourish in Blake Baker's overall system. But LSU is, again, one of those teams. I know we've power ranked them 4th in the SEC, but these big 2 conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, the top 5 teams in each of these conferences, especially in the SEC, are national championship level type contending teams. LSU is that this year. with bringing back Nussmeier at quarterback, one of the elder statesmen. I think that LSU, this is the best team as a collection of like overall team that Brian Kelly has had in his tenure in Baton Rouge. So let me I got to ask you this question now, with that being a Notre Dame fan and obviously having BK as the head coach of your team for a long time. Is this year 3 for him or year 4 at LSU?
Gosh, year 4.
I believe it's year 4.
Yep.
Yeah. So in year 4, let's just say LSU doesn't make the college football playoff. Do you think that there's a chance that they take a look at making a change in Baton Rouge after this year with the talent that they've got coming back?
Yeah, it depends on who's available. It depends on, and we talked, there was not a lot of P4 coaching moves this past offseason, and this next offseason could produce a lot. He's got to do something there. I mean, he's got
pressure from the fan base will be outrageous if they don't make the playoffs. Obviously,
they expected way more than this by right now.
Yeah, but with as much money as they're paying him, with his track record, like you and I talk about it, but yeah, he's not the most likable guy in the world, but he's one of the best coaches in college football.
I mean, every place he's been in year 3, year 3 in Notre Dame, he went to the national championship game. Like every place, Cincinnati, year 3, like they went undefeated, went to the Sugar Bowl. Like a year 3 was always the jump, and they failed to do it last year. Like he reset after his second year, tried to make changes on the offense or the defensive side of the ball, all that stuff. So yes, with Blake Baker being his second year there, I mean,
agreed.
They've got to make some jumps for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think year 2 with this new defensive staff that he brought in, that was some really good hires across the board. I think is the key to the reason why that this we all know they're going to be. They've been really good offensively since Brian Kelly's been there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the defensive play is going to start catching up with the personnel that they're going to have on that side of the ball. I think the defense is going to start catching up more to the offense, and they're just going to be a better overall team on both sides of the ball this year.
Yeah, and we talked about Nussmeier. Think about the conundrum that a team like, maybe the New Orleans Saints might face a year from now. As Nussmeier plays well, Arch Manning plays well. Who do you take if you got the number 1 overall pick? Do you take Arch Manning and take a quarterback for the first time since you took Archie? Or do you take Garrett Nussmeier, whose dad just happens to be the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah. Dude, I'm really high on Nuss. I know that a lot of people are just going to be box score berries and look at interceptions and things like that. And again, he does have some turnover issues. I think some of that also has to do with, too, the pressure that was on that offense the last 2 years to scores almost on every possession in some games because of how poor their defense was. I think has something to do with it. But the arm talent of Nussmeier, dude, his arm talent is as good as anybody in the entire sport in college football. There's throws that he can make that a lot of other people cannot make. His accuracy is pretty flawless too on some. And when you really watch him, he's got the chance to be the best in the country. You said that earlier when you first started talking about him. He's got the chance to be the best quarterback in the country. He is a Heisman candidate with the receivers that they're going to have, with the type of offensive system he's going to be running. If he can just cut down on the turnovers, I think this offense has a chance to be a lot better. And I think it also has a chance to be a lot better because finally, I think this running game will finally be a lot better. Since BK has been there, dude, LSU's run game has been borderline non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
But with the emergence of Cade Durham at the end of last year and like the overall depth that they're going to have at the running back position in general, I think it's going to be one of the best in the country. I mean, dude, they brought in the number 1 running back in the country. I'm trying to find his Harlan Berry. Harlan Berry was the number 1 running back in the country coming out of high school. They brought him in as well. So now they've got the last 3 years. LSU has brought in 3 combined top 10 running backs in the country that they're all 3 going to be in that backfield together this year with Cade Durham, Caleb Jackson, and Harlan Berry. So I think the overall run game will help Nussmeier in that passing game a lot as well because they're going to have the chance to be more balanced than they've been the last 3 years.